Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome to the Gems of War Campaign 3 Week 3 Day 7. Of course, today is the final day of the new faction that we ended up getting last Friday. It is quite an annoying faction to say the least. It ended up being a lot more annoying than originally anticipated. We ended up ultimately getting it done, of course, last night with, gosh, it took like 2.5 hours. But we could have actually gotten it first try if we went in with the right strategy. The main strategy for it is obviously take this room, this room, this room, this room. And team we did with for it was Horned Guardian, Double Mekatar into King Minos, which is the one I mentioned for the video as well. But the basic strategy for it is you want to kill out their tank before... basically, you want your tank to be alive and theirs to be dead on the final battle. If you can do that in any way, shape, or form, you pretty much won. That is pretty much the game plan. Ideally, you want to get Mekatar to silence it, so it can't cast, so it can't gain more durability, and then you just kill it with everything else that you have on your team, and you're pretty much good to go. But as soon as you kill the Horned Guardian and you still have your Horned Guardian alive, you pretty much auto-win because this thing's just, like, unkillable. There's no multi-hit in this faction, so that's, like, one of the main things I would kind of counter a barrier-spamming troop, and, yeah, there's no counter to it. So, yeah, he's super unkillable. But as soon as you kill theirs, you pretty much just win. It's just really annoying to do so. You definitely don't want to really prioritize anything else on the enemy team other than maybe the Mekatar, just to make sure that their Mekatar doesn't hit you, because it does hit somewhat like a gargoyle. Not exactly, but still hits pretty hard. Anyways, so today, probably just gonna go clear through dailies and mostly farm faction 12. We've been needing to get more Nyshas. We still need 7 until we can go upgrade a troop, and I want to do that ideally before the end of the season, because there is a chance we are getting a Doom troop at the end of the season. If we happen to get a Doom troop at the end of the season, I want to potentially medal it. It'll be the first troop, Mythic or above, that we've ever medaled, if so. That, of course, depends on if it's actually viable or not, but Zugov generally you don't end up upgrading, mostly because of the fact that he doesn't really gain much of a benefit from doing so. Also, there's still this +2/+2 banner, by the way. I don't believe they have fixed it yet. No, they have not. This banner, the new banner that came with the most recent faction, still gives +2 green and +2 red. This will likely be fixed in the very near future. However, as it currently stands, it is the most powerful banner in the game, in a sense, because it has one whole additional plus value compared to any other banner there is. So, yeah, really strong banner. It'll probably be fixed on Monday or sometime very soon. But as it currently stands, it is very broken. Works pretty good for a couple teams. One of those being Phoenicia, luckily. Kind of works pretty good for her since she needs both green and red and does not need blue. So works out quite conveniently. Pretty much any really good green-red troop. Yagway gains quite a bit of a benefit from it too. And obviously pretty much any green-red that is useful to any capacity. Also, I just need to go over the spoilers. I almost forgot. Let me go do that right now. I actually didn't bring them up ahead of time. Let me go over that right now. But let me say hello to everyone first. So, hello, NASA! Hello, I almost forgot it was even Sunday. Losing track of days. Hello, even the title says it, which is kind of funny, though. Hello, NASA! Hello, John! Hello, Mobarashi! Hello, Bacon! Hello! Hello, Isabel! Hello... Hello, Bill! Hello, HD Addict! Hello, Cookie! I chose just having some cookies as well. Hello, Lestat. Hello, John. Hello, other John, I should say. Hello, T3, and hello, everyone else. Welcome, 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 welcome. Okay, let me go bring up the stuffs. So, of course, next week. Let's go to Gems of War first, and then we'll go over all the event stuff. Okay. Loading, loading, loading. What do we need to do for the World Lore event? Throat. What do we need to do for a World Lore event? Okay. Triple, do you want to load? Thank you. Oh, we got a legend next week, too. Nice. Didn't even notice that. Very nice. Okay, so we got 2 troops. First one is the Epic. You get this for Glory. Ends up dealing, or drains mana from an enemy, and then eliminates 9 magic. So, I assume the magic elimination is based on its magic, and the drain is just a static 7. And then it stuns and entangles them. So that actually gets a lot of value. It's a really high mana cost, though. It almost kind of reminds me of Dracos 1337. But yeah, it drains mana from an enemy, eliminates a bunch of magic, stuns, and entangles them. So basically makes it so they won't be casting anytime soon, makes their cast weaker when they do, stuns them, and entangles them. I don't feel like you would bother using this, though. It's not empowered. It has 14 mana cost. That's a really hefty mana cost for this. Honestly, for 1 higher mana cost, you could just run Dracos 1337, which is already considered a bad troop. So I don't really foresee this really being good. It does get to submerge itself when it takes damage, which I guess is kind of unique for it, and it does have immune to mana drain, but the other thing is impervious, so it has like immune to everything. But, or almost everything. But yeah, that doesn't seem that good at all. But you'd still get it for the copies and nothing else. You get a bunch of yellow purples. How is the legend, though? So we got a red blue. It ends up dealing damage to the first enemy and last enemy, and that's boosted by magic, of course. There are independent 10% chance to devour the enemies. Oh! Boosted by 3% for each submerged ally and enemy. So if your entire team was submerged, that's 22%. If the entire enemy team was submerged and your team was submerged, that is 34%. Well, technically 2 less percent on both of those. Because submerge, or sorry, 3% less on both of those because the submerge on itself doesn't actually count. So his max possible submerge, because it would get removed before it gets checked for the boost ratio with how the current state of the game is, unless they ever fix that in an upcoming update at some point. But anyways, so that'd be 7 submerges, that's 21%, that's 31%. So 31% would be his highest possible ever devour, is basically what that comes down to. I'm not sure if that's even that good. It's interesting. It's kind of like, it's really similar to Kraken, except it has a double devour chance, and it's dependent on submerge. Because if you had at least 4 submerges, isn't Kraken's nerf to devour rate 40% in the current state of the game? Used to be, I think, 50% or something. But I'm pretty sure it got nerfed to 40%. So if this guy had at least 4 submerges in play, either on your team and or the enemy team. Well, technically, it would at least one of them would have to be on the enemy team because you forgot you can't boost off yourself. But yeah, if there was like 4 submerges in play, at least not counting your troop that's casting it, yeah, that would be a 21%, which would be 21%, which is about the same rate that Kraken would have. It just distributes his damage a little bit differently. He does not have any kind of mana accumulation, though, off of it, unlike Kraken, which does. And he gets to gain 10 life when matching 4, or oh, he really gets a lot of life. He has the same kind of mechanic as Behemoth. One interesting thing, though, is he does have 25% score reduction, so unlike Kraken, he can actually kind of tank properly. Not only does it gain 10 life per extra turn, but it also has a 25% reduction, and gains all the stats from everything that it devours. So I guess it's okay. It's not the greatest, but it's not horrible. I just feel like it's so situational that you wouldn't really use it compared to other options that exist within the game. But yeah, it submerges itself when it takes damage too, so it's kind of hard to hit. It's kind of like a tanky version of Kraken is basically what this is. It doesn't have like the loop potential of Kraken, but it's a really, really tanky version of Kraken is basically what it comes down to. Because he can dodge AoE, he has 25% score reduction, and he gains a life every extra turn. Even though he doesn't have board control attached to him, you can obviously do that through other means. Also, he's a Beast Giant, so you actually can half mana start him with Titan Hero class, which is also rather interesting. I wasn't expecting this to be a giant. I was expecting like a beast, and that's probably it. Or Beast Merfolk or something. Beast Giant's actually kind of weird. Because not only does it not really synergize with Merlantis as a Beast Giant, particularly as a giant, there's like no giants. There's a couple beasts there, like Merlion, but it has a color overlap and a few others. But yeah, he's interesting. He has okay potential. We'll have to see. I feel like it's not going to be too good overall. But he definitely has potential. He's really tanky, but he doesn't have any board control, which is my biggest concern with him. Anyways, there are 6 battles. Also, we have Guild Wars going on next week, by the way. That's one of the biggest things going on next week. We're going to be trying a bunch of different defend teams, too. I'll probably make them up tomorrow night. And we'll go and test them after we finish out all the stuff. That's probably going to be the main thing we do. But anyways, unless I make them preemptively. But there are 6 battles that players can encounter during the event. The Lamprey, the Shocktopus, the Skyla, the Kraken, the Leviathan, and the Carabids. Also, fun fact, the Shocktopus was actually a community-made troop. Basically, everything got voted on as far as what the troop would end up doing. Of course, it got balanced a little bit more, but yeah, it was still pretty much what we ended up voting on, which was pretty good. Yeah, all the books, all the, what do they call it? Those Doom books. We're finally making a defend team for all of them. We finally upgraded all of them for Guild Wars Defense. We're going to be doing that next week. As far as the scoring, you can find the following rewards for each of the different battles you may encounter. They're all shells, so basically do it by rarity. Easy. Okay, nice. Nice and simple. Do it by rarity. That's all I want to know. There we go. Success. Okay, so next order of business. Sip of water. And let's go to Terran's World to bring up the event stuff. If I could type To the Terran's Wald! Okay, so, let's start off with the weekly spoiler stuff, just to get the events out of the way. So, this Tuesday, we got ourselves the faction of the Frostfire Keep. That's the one with the really big tank and the thing that's kind of like Queen Mab, but better. For Wednesday, we're going to be having the Krabby pet. He's just the Blue Guild War pet, which is pretty useful if Blue Guild War occurs on Wednesday or later. Hopefully it does not occur on Tuesday, because you'll be able to get more Krabbies on Wednesday, which will obviously help you for Blue Guild War. That'd be quite a bit of a fail if we actually have Blue Day on Tuesday, but given that we're getting Krabby on Wednesday. But yeah, he's the Blue Guild War pet, basically. Whenever you use a team with 4 blues, you get more life or armor. I forget which. I think it might actually be life, even though it kind of seems like it should be armor. But gives more durability nonetheless. For Thursday, we end up getting the Tidecaller hero class. Tidecaller, pretty underwhelming. Generally, you use Frost Mage instead. Frost Mage is basically just a better version of Tidecaller in almost every situation. Unless you're going like a pure Merfolk team from Atlantis, you're generally not really going with Tidecaller. Frost Mage is normally the better option. And this Friday, we got ourselves raids. Nothing really too interesting this Friday. The biggest thing that's actually happening is pretty much the Guild War going on throughout the week and tomorrow. When we get all of our stuff, get the new tasks and all that. Because the Friday raid's pretty basic. We might be getting a new weapon, though. I need to go double check. I am actually not sure on that, so let's check that right now. We might actually get a new weapon, which might be interesting, let's see. Who knows, maybe we'll get a meta weapon, and it'll actually be really interesting. I'm looking for weapons. Are we getting a weapon this Friday? The answer is yes, actually. Interesting. Okay. Doesn't actually do anything interesting, though. So tomorrow we're actually getting a weapon, too. This is from Blade of Morning. Wait, is that from the adventure board? I mean, not the adventure board, from the other thing, though? It removes all purple gems. Create yellows gems equal to the purple removed. Yeah, I believe this is from the board thingy. Or not the board, you know, the campaign. It gives magic +1 life to an ally, boosted by yellow gems removed on the board. So that's pretty average. Nothing really too special there. As far as on Friday, though, we're going to be getting the Pirate's Signet. And this ends up doing magic +7 damage to an enemy, boosted by Blackhawk allies at a 6x boost ratio, and then creates a mix of, oh, it's one of those weapons, and then creates a mix of blue and red. Okay, just one of those weapons for like the billing of time. Obviously, we haven't done every single typing yet. So this Blackhawk one, it could have some potential because you could actually end up using it a little bit with Rogue Spider. However, compared to the other options, I don't really feel like you're going to touch it though. So, yeah, I guess maybe if you're going like a pirate rogue team, maybe with just a 1 spider version of it on it, could maybe work, because at that point your team could be 3 Blackhawks into spider if you're not using the Mother of Darkness method for it. So that could potentially be okay, because it creates blue and red. Does blue feed into spider? I actually forget. What color does spider use? What color does the spider use? No, blue and red does not feed into it, so never mind. Yeah, you wouldn't bother with that weapon. You just kind of stick to this method. Yeah, you'd pretty much only do it if you're building a Blackhawk team then, obviously. But no, it doesn't have overlap to the other thing. It's not worth using. Yeah, I'm not sure that weapon's really going to be that usable. Well, who knows? It might be into the future. Blackhawk does have 50% to all rogues, so potentially a rogue team could end up forming in Blackhawk. That could end up making it usable if nothing else. But anyways, it's pretty much everything then. But yeah, overall, curious to see how the legend pans out. That'll probably be the most interesting thing that happens tomorrow. See how exactly that will actually end up developing. Anyways, now we can go back to these. The overall pretty average week. But we are getting a new weapon this Friday with the raid event. And we got Guild Wars throughout the week. And I'll be messing around with some really interesting defend teams as well to see how they work. We'll be testing them mostly tomorrow night. But they'll be used, obviously, every single day throughout next week for the event. Because we're going to be trying those new Doom books to see how they work. I've seen people use them before. However, I've never personally bothered building the teams because I never bothered upgrading them, but now I finally did. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Definitely would be fun to test them. Hopefully we can see our win rate go up for defense. Also, I'm not sure what bracket we'll be. I think we're bracket 5 right now. We're like 4 or 5. Yeah, raid event is pretty straightforward most of the time. Great time to try to get leaderboard orbs, too. That and Thursday events, I feel like, are like the 2 best times. Like the weekend event that don't require like going super deep. That's completely optional to go super deep, as well as the Thursday event, are probably the two easiest to make leaderboard for. Generally, factions are the hardest to make leaderboard for, just because people are already going so deep anyways in order to get the pure faction done. That going even deeper is kind of a bad idea. Because you're going to spend so much more gems doing it during a faction. Like, you get pretty good loot during a faction event, if nothing else. But it's a lot harder to contest leaderboard. Hasn't started yet? What hasn't started yet? What do you mean, Guild Wars? The thing where you can spend gems for it shouldn't be active yet. Normally doesn't until after Monday reset, which is still like 6-7 hours away. Though if it did allow you to already upgrade it, it should apply to the current Guild Wars. If not, screenshot it and send a support ticket. But you shouldn't be able to buy the thingy things. Also, it's still glitch to say register now, even though we're already registered. Next Guild War starts, you are registered. Yep, we're already registered. But it shouldn't let you spend on the Sentinels. Unless I misread what you were referring it to. Oh, also, don't forget, it's the last day to get the War Lore event done as well. The one for the week. Oh, we've already collected everything. And Isabel's on leaderboard somewhere. Looks like she made top 50. Where is she? I lost track. There she is. Yeah, she made top 50. Let's see, what was the top of leaderboard at? 1.6 million. I think they won. Just possibly. I think they might have won. Also, they almost hit 1,000 battles. That's pretty insane. But I think they might have won just a little bit. Just ever so slightly. Kind of hard to tell. Because their number's so much bigger. It's like a 10 times difference. I think they overkilled it just a little bit. Just ever so slightly. By like 10 times second place. He's like a solid 9 times above second place. That is pretty insane. I don't think you need to kill it that hard. Normally you want to get like about 3, 4, 5 times higher than second place just to make sure they don't try contesting you. But yeah, he went all out. He just set fourth going with like a certain amount of gems and he was like, okay, I'm just going to do all these. One shot everything with Phoenicia. Or Queen Titania, I mean, or whatever he did for it. You know, just some full AoE. And that's what he did. Actually, could you use a Phoenicia for this event? I can't remember. Actually would be good because it does double damage, so it would definitely make sure to get the kills always. That'd actually be stronger than Queen Titania with that much power. I forget if you could for whatever the event was. But don't forget to grab your 50 gem thingy. Always worth going for the 80 diamonds, the 2 gem keys, all that stuff. A free Celestial is an easy way to get Celestial too if you're still looking for Celestials. So what's this flash offer? Oh yeah, they were also trying to sell this weekend for flash offer. It's okay. Nothing too special. It's not bad value, but it's not exceptionally good value compared to some of the offers. Okay, so that's out of the way, that's out of the way. So now we can start hunting for our Nyshas, which is the main thing I want to get done this stream. I'm just going to put a 20% onto this. There we go. Okay, so let's go hunt for Nysha. That's not where I want to hunt for Nysha. That's where I want to hunt for Nysha. The only level 16 kingdom we have. But when you get to 16, it does give 10% more mist stones. But I end up using those purple deeds the other week, or the other couple months ago at this point, in order to go get that. And now whenever we go and farm here, we have 10% more shards. And the reason why we farm here is it's the only kingdom that has 0 immune to burning. And even if some kingdoms did start to get immune to burning, it wouldn't really matter. Oh, what was your above comment? Oh, the Dr. Tacit therapy session. Oh, so hello, analyst. Let's see. When you did Pure Faction at level 320, you ended up with a tank versus tank battle. But your team had a grudge, so eventually you had... Yeah, I was trying to initially do it with tank versus tank, but it was kind of the inverse way where he had the extra attack and we didn't. I was considering getting on one run. On our winning run, I actually got Agile. I don't think it would have made a difference if we had or didn't have it on if we would have won or not. But I did grab Agile for the last run we did. The best effect you could possibly get if you're looking to do it, possibly even without potions, is to go Deathmark. If you could grab the Deathmark room, kill the Deathmark room, and make it to the final room with like 3 troops of surviving, you could actually kill the entire final battle with Deathmark if you get lucky enough. Just make sure you always remove his barrier so that the Deathmark will actually kill him. And you can just cheese the entire faction with Deathmark, because the super tank will pretty much still never die, even without potions. And as long as you cheese it with Deathmark, you would eventually win out of pure luck, as long as you just keep tanking up and keep poking them with Deathmarks. But yeah, you can really get like an auto win if you can actually get the Deathmark room. The only problem with that though is the Deathmark room is a tier 5 room that does true damage, so it might be a little bit difficult to take out, especially without potions. But with potions, it would definitely be manageable. I didn't get it on any of my 3 runs that we did, or 4. I can't remember at this point. But however many attempts we did, we actually never saw it a single time, the Deathmark room. But definitely does appear there. It's just doesn't always appear there. If you see a tier 5, it's currently the only tier 5 treasure room, so that is the one when you see it at either of the 2 treasure room spots. It'd be one of the easiest ways to get it done, if you're still looking to try to get it done in the last 5 hours. You're preparing a beef recipe after the next week, after the labyrinth, I know, right? I've actually been starting to get back into a salad mood, where I just have like 1 beefy salad per day. I do pretty much everything today, because I've been trying to stay away from meats again, as much as I can. And I've still gotten no fast food for 10 months now. Or actually 11 months. Like midway towards the end of next month would be the 1 year mark of no fast food, which would be the longest I've ever gone. I'm not sure how much longer I'll go after that until we cheat on it though. I want to hit at least the 1 year mark. Let's see. We'll throw that down. Grab our Pokety Poke. Get our Flame down. Get our Zugoff in there. Hello, Mr. Jesse. Welcome. Yeah, that's the nice chain going on there. And if anyone has any questions or anything you want me to go over, let me know. Or anything I missed in chat, and I'll make sure to do so. I keep forgetting that new 50% undead troop. That technically makes this location slightly more harder to deal with, but still really easy to deal with. But a lot of things here are undead, and they can have half mana start, which can obviously be sometimes bad if they get a quick cast or multiple quick casts. But normally they don't survive long enough for that to happen. But it can happen now with that 50% start. It's not that big a deal. I don't think we've ever actually lost because of it, or at least directly because of it. How do we play so quick? We've been playing for over like 13,000 hours. Hey, we got an Anu. So we kind of just know where everything is. So we're playing on 4x speed, so if you're wondering why the thing is moving so quick, it's because we have it on the quickest speed in the game. You can click it under settings and change it, because I think default's at like 1 times or 1.5 times or something. But yeah, 4 times you definitely want to set it to. But no, we have so many hours in this game that yeah, it just naturally goes super, super quick. We're not even using controller either. You can actually play even quicker with controller. Because there's some things that you could basically hotkey press with controller. It's not that much slower playing with mouse though. The quickest way to play is using a combination of both. I normally just use mouse only. There's also a weird glitch where it sometimes slows down over time when you use a controller. So if you're playing for a long period of time, or even anything over half an hour, it starts to lag a bit, which sometimes loses the time that you're even saving. Yeah, oh yeah, if you're level 28, you definitely wouldn't be playing this quick yet. You generally want to take things slower and just learn how everything works within the game, as far as what cards do, mechanics, and stuff like that. Generally, that early on in the game, the best way to farm souls is, there's actually 2 teams. Valkyrie with triple Warlock, or Arena, if you can get decent at Arena. Both give pretty good soul rates. at least from an early game perspective. Yeah, if you already put a lot into this event, I would advise trying to get it done. If you already put like over 2,000 gems, especially if you put over 3,000 gems into the event, I would advise still going all the way till pure faction. If you already spend that much, going a little bit further wouldn't hurt. Also, if you need to, upgrade the faction a little bit more too. You basically just need to get lucky on the double Mechatar silence for the pure faction. Yeah, we're level 1,610, which is decently high. Anything above 1,500 is pretty high. There are people over 2,000 though. Let's see, we'll take that over. Do we even have an option here? Yes, we do. Well, what team are you running for the thingy, NASA? Because you basically just need to keep spamming Mechatar, get lucky on silence. Have 3 to 4 of your troops survive into final battle. Throw everything you have at the tank for final battle. And then once their tank dies and your tank lives, you win. You shouldn't try going for anything else unless the Mechatar is trying to cast. On the opposing team, you might want to reduce its armor a little bit so it doesn't hit you for too high. But aside from that, you want to focus everything on the tank. Yeah, the faction was definitely harder than I initially anticipated. It looks really easy, but then you realize how ridiculously broken the tank is relative to what's in the faction. Like, that tank on paper is actually weaker than some of the other troops that we've had in the past. However, it is so much weaker relative to like everything else within the faction that it's actually strong because the entirety of the faction is towards the weaker side as far as damage output. Do we even have a thingy here? Yes, we can. We can go for that. And he's dead. Hello, Defiant! Welcome! Yeah, some people said they had to go for like tier 15, or tier 7 15 times, or like 10 times and stuff like that to get the faction thingy done. I think we went up to 7 until we finally got it done. I could have theoretically got it done on first try with 5 if I would have done the correct strategy, but I didn't. Because we had 4 troops going into final battle the first time. But I tried killing out the rest of the team and then do the tank, where that's the exact opposite of what you should do. You go for the tank and then go for the rest of the team. Yeah, there's definitely factions worse than Labyrinth. I would say there's probably about 5 factions worse. Especially if you're doing it without potions. Because Labyrinth without potions actually isn't too much harder. Because you just keep re-rolling until you get Deathmark, and then roll it with Deathmark and just roll everything down. But, I basically win it that way. Because nothing has immune to Deathmark on that place. But some of them are really annoying without potions. Like Hall of Guardians, which is the hardest one I've ever done without potions. As well as Sea of Sorrows. Sea of Sorrows is almost impossible unless you have like a really high horde level. Just because the true damage hits you for so much. He casts twice, he pretty much wipes your whole team. A legend in Sea of Sorrows. Nandine, you'd love to learn how to do what? Not sure you're referring to that too. Larazza's is the biggest, worst faction. It's really luck-based. Generally speaking, almost all the worst factions are super luck-based. There's a few exceptions to that. Like, some of the easier ones are luck-based. Like, for example, Stonesong Aerie is a luck-based one. That's a slightly easier one. Same as, Crypt is a luck-based one. That's a slightly easier one. But, generally, when you're depending on a troop to do a certain thing, and that certain thing is an instant kill, those are the ones that are normally the worst. And Larazza's Lair is literally the entirety of the kingdom, is that mechanic. I'm not sure if that one was the absolute worst, but it's definitely pretty high up there. I'm not even sure what the absolute worst is in the current state of the game. With potions, that is. Without potions, a lot of them are up there, as far as how bad they are. Should probably kill the boss killer. Sometimes I don't go for the boss killer in these battles, and because we have a boss, I'll sometimes forget. It's like, oh yeah, it can one-shot me at any time, can it? That's the only bad thing about Zugoff and Enraged Karandera and whatever next Doom troops we might end up getting, is since they all count as a boss, they can actually all be one-shotted by about like 34 troops in the game. All the boss slayer troops. And while it's very rare that you'll see a team that has them in their composition, they do exist. And there's actually a meta goblin team that runs one of them, though I forget if it does the extra damage to towers or not. I should double check. Is that a tower one or is that a boss one? I think that was actually a tower one. Let me double check. It was the meta goblin team that became meta about a year and a half ago. Yeah, he does extra damage to towers, so yeah, that's not relevant. Never mind. Though there is a goblin one, I believe, that does it to bosses. It's like a red-purple that does extra turn and instant kill a boss, basically. Well, it doesn't instant kill the boss, but you know, they generally have enough damage with 5 times damage that it is going to instant kill it. Werewoods, wasn't that the one with the transform spam? That wasn't too bad with potions. Without potions, that place would probably be really annoying. But, I don't know, I didn't struggle with that too much. You basically just need to make sure that one mana accumulator you don't really cast until the final battle, if you can help it, because you need to make sure he's still a mana accumulator for the final battle. But as long as you have like 2 of the legends, 1 or 2 of the legends combined with that one mana accumulator for the final, you're pretty much good to go. And I believe that one triple damage red guy or whatever he did was pretty decent too. If you had like him, or you know, the tank up front with mana accumulation, that one guy that did like the extra red thing, and then at least like won the legend, you're normally good to go for the final. In Werewoods. You generally don't spam the transform that much unless you get a second of him. Because you need to make sure he stays as himself and not transform to something else. The starting team's normally the mana accumulator, the triple damage guy, and double of the legends. So sometimes you can go double of the triple damage guy into the legends. And just don't cast a legend until the final battle. Which I think is how I ultimately did it, actually. The mana accumulator tank that I almost never casted until the end. Double of that triple damage guy or whatever it was. I forget exactly what he does, but he does like something with red and he boosts based on it. If it's like 13 plus or something. And I think he even creates red or something. And then one, like the legend in the back. Like either of those 2 combinations would work pretty good for Werewoods. And as long as you have 1 of each for the final, you're pretty much good to go. 1 of each is in 1 of each of those 3 troops. Because whatever the other guy was, I believe was pretty useless for the faction. Yeah, there's a couple God Slayers that are really good. Because they all have like different effects that can make them decent. But I think the extra turn Goblin one might be the absolute strongest. Just because there will eventually be enough Doom troops that it will be viable to run a team with 2 Doom troops on the same team. And whenever that becomes the day, that one Goblin that does extra turn to raid bosses is going to become ridiculously meta. He's pretty much unused in the current state of the game. But he will become one of the strongest troops in the entire game. To hard counter that at some point. And the troop I'm referring to is, I keep mentioning him. I have no clue what his name is. I know like pretty much exactly what he does, but I have no clue what his name is. This guy. The Hell Cackle. It's something you probably don't see like at all in the current state of the game. But he deals damage to the boss, obviously the 5 times if he's fully max ascension. But his main gimmick is he gains an extra turn on cast. He also has Stealthy, so he can't be targeted directly. He also has Arcane, so as your team casts, he gains even more damage. So every magic from an ally casting, he essentially gains 5 damage against a boss, on top of the fact that he's probably already going to be one-shotting them with how much damage he has. And of course, he also does that same thing with Skulls. But he has Stealthy into extra turn. It's really devastating. He's a super good boss counter. He's not really used because there's only 2 bosses in this game currently. And barely anyone has both. There's like no viable team that uses both on the same team. But there will be once we get more of them. Once we have like 6 Doom Troops in the game, there's definitely going to be a team that uses like 2 of them together. If not 3. That'd be funny once we finally have enough to make a 4 Doom team. It's going to be such an expensive team. That would literally be the most expensive team in the entire game. Whenever we finally have 4 Doom Troops. Because if they all cost power orbs. But I hope they add some other ways to get them. Like max faction renown or something else. Like not just all power orb ones. But assuming they are all power orbs going forward, it's going to be a super ultra expensive team. Because that means to create the team you would need to have 32 power orbs. Essentially. Be interesting to see how that pans out once it becomes a thing. There's no way. Hey, another Anu, nice. No Nishas yet, though. It'd be interesting to see how that pans out, though. They'd have so much mana problem. It'd be worse than the 4 Horsemen, which at one point were the only mythics in the game. So it was a fun kind of meme team to do at the time, even though it wasn't viable even back then, to use the 4 Apocalypse troops all together. And we can kind of do the same thing once we have the 4 Doom troops. Because the 4 Apocalypse troops at one point were the only mythics in the game. The 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They were the first 4 mythics. Similar to how these first 4 Doom Troops will all be the first 4 Doom Troops. Except they're not all associated to each other. Like they don't have a similar theme. Hopefully it does not hit back, and he does. Good, we have exact... Oh, good, we got an extra red. Actually, that should be able to kill. Let's go for that. Nice, dead. Yeah, Xenos is one of those useless troops that you almost never bother crafting. The only good thing about Xenos is he does count for an achievement. So once you get him unlocked, he gives you an achievement. Yeah, 32 power orbs, and then Hell Shackle comes along and one-shots your team in like 5 seconds. Actually, it'd take a little bit longer than that. You'd have to refill his mana each time. Did I have a tank in first slot for the final battle? Yes. Obviously, he moves around, so he's not always in first slot. However, ideally, you want him to start in first slot. Like, by the end of first battle, you want to make sure your tank is in first slot. How you go about doing that, you can go basically do it however you want. But, as far as strategy. But, by the end of the first battle, you want to make sure your tank is in first slot. Because that makes it so your tank is in first slot for every battle until the final, including going into the final, assuming that there's not a movement on a different battle. Really important that your tank's in first slot by the end of first battle. If you need a way to try to aligning it, one of them does basically no damage. That one brown-green guy. He basically does no damage, and he reshuffles your team or does something to move them. So you can use him to try to get your tank back to first slot. Because he doesn't actually do damage unless he hits you with Skull. So you can use the first battle at that point to kill everything else out, and then let him live, and then have him turn your team back to normal order. I never handed out code yet, did I? I was gonna do it after we did the preview stuff, but then I kind of forgot. After we did the preview stuff in dailies. Let me go do it now. If I'm not mistaken, I still have it on copy paste. I don't have the full thing. Let me go check it's even working. I don't think I put anything else on copy paste on my other computer. I sure hope not. Let's see. Yeah, it's fine. It's on copy paste. Good. So put it over there. Click refresh. Make sure it works. It does indeed. But here you guys go. Here's the redeem code. Use on gemsaware.com for the game code section. Your invite code can be found underneath your settings menu. Redeem code is right over there in chat. Just copy paste some random numbers and letters. Your invite code can be found right over there, whatever it says in the corner. Click on the link and it'll bring you to where you use it. Or just go to gemsaward.com underneath the game code section. And it gives the same reward as always. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. And of course, it only works on the PC mobile version of the game. But there you guys go. Enjoy. Okay, so let's go back to the grind. We'll go for a couple more chests. Gotta get those chests in while we can. I want to try to get 1 Nysha, but I'm not going to stream until we get 1 Nysha. It could literally take like 10 hours if we get super unlucky. Realistically, you would get one in about like 3 to 5 hours, but it is possible that you can go like 10 plus hours with none. We've gone like 30 plus hours with none before. You can get super unlucky on them. Yeah, no problem for the code. Yeah, I still feel like the 100 gold medal achievement is still the hardest achievement in the game. But for whatever reason, it's not actually shown as the hardest achievement in the game. What's actually shown as the hardest achievement in the game is the 40,000 renown one, oddly enough. I'm actually rather surprised. Oh, that's not the right one. But if we go check it right over here, the thing is actually, this one, oddly enough, is actually rare. Which I find kind of surprising, because I feel like gold medaling 100 troops is actually harder than getting 40,000 renown. But I guess some people really do not want to do factions. And by some, I mean a lot. Because, yeah, this is actually higher. Which I find really surprising. Very, very surprising. And obviously war bands are starting to go up because people are getting them for free off their offer thingy. Or people just buying. Pay to win achievement. There are ways to get them for free. Yeah, even the 30,000 renown one's pretty low. 0.8% of people. So less than 1% of people have over 30,000 renown. And 0.3 over 40%. I wonder what the actual percent is then for people that have max renown. Like 100% absolute max. It's probably like 0.01 or something. Something absurdly small. Definitely lower than 0.1. Even though if there was an achievement for it, it'd probably round up to 0.1 due to how Steam works. Let's see. Take that over. Getting pure faction 500 done without gems is almost impossible for normal factions. And playing 2,000 to 4,500 matches in one day takes too much time and gems. Oh, you mean for when you do the thing on a Tuesday event? But yeah, a lot of pure factions are pretty hard to do in 500. However, to be able to get 40,000 is somewhat simple in the current state of the game. It actually, you don't need a single pure faction 500 completed in order to have 40,000 in the current state of the game. If you did every kingdom just to 500 with the basic 100 leveling, or, you know, upgrading the horde to 100, you would have 2,000 per kingdom. There are 26 kingdoms, meaning that you could have, at the current state of the game, 52,000 without doing a single pure faction ever. Without ever even touching any level of pure faction, you could have 52,000 points in the current state of the game. When it comes to faction renown. So it's not required to do it. It will be for some future rewards, of course, that exist. As far as for that achievement specifically, it's actually not required to do a single pure faction. Well, it would help, obviously. It is by no means required for it. I should just use mana accumulation there. I'm not sure why I didn't. We could actually lose here if we're not careful. Which is bad because this is for a chest right now. I almost feel like taking a safety skull. Oh, he better not do shenanigans with that. He was thinking about it. He didn't get it, luckily, though. I got it, smash. That was almost really bad. We almost had to do a solo leprechaun. And showed a godlike leprechaun skills. Where he just wins out of nowhere. It's always funny when you're stuck with just leprechaun and he actually wins. The leprechaun carry. What do we need here? We'll grab the purples. Get her destroyed down. Hive theoretically has an infinite loop on Pure Faction. Unless you're just referring about progressing in it. In which case, I think you use a Rowan team, can't you? I'm pretty sure you can. Oh, why'd I do that? Another instance where I should have just went for mana. Careful, he could actually kill us. Actually, might have already done so. Not quite, we'll take that. Played safe. It extra turns! Leprechaun, kill it. You got this. Why is everything killing our entire team all of a sudden? I'll catch you later, John. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we're probably going to be wrapping up soon as well. Mostly just grinding at the moment. Probably go for 2 more chests, this one and next one. So hoping for at least a Nysha, but we got 2 Anus tonight, so can't complain about that. Just didn't get the shiny Nysha. I want a skull from Sky, but there's no way to take a skull from Sky on this board. Well, now we get one. A little late. Our hero's kind of dead. Yeah, using Slayer class for this makes it die so quickly. But its damage output is just so good. Yeah, 4 Beatrix and 4 Truffles are really funny for their Pure Faction. Because everything else from the Kingdom's kind of just meh. So you literally just spam their most overpowered troop. There's a couple factions like that. But those 2 are particularly funny because they're the same premise of troop where they like extra turn spam forever. Beatrix is a little bit worse at it, but Truffle does it really, really good. Even after a nerf, he still does it insanely good. Yeah, especially on newer accounts. Urskia's Shield to Rowan is just absurdly good. It wasn't on Switch when I first started playing Switch because Sentinel Hero class didn't exist when Switch launched. But, yeah, Sentinel, Urskia's Shield into Rowan is just absurd. You could theoretically have that within a day of playing the game as well, if you were like ultra focused and knew what to do. Realistically, it would take a little bit longer than that, though. It would probably take like a week or 2 for a new player to get. But if you knew exactly what you were doing on a new account, it would be possible in a day or 2 to have Urskia's Shield into Rowan for free, and to just carry you through the entire game with that. It is ridiculously strong, and just keep it on a Titan hero class or something. Just because how well-rounded Titan is. And also because you would need the barrier to survive some instances where you would use it. Because you use a lot of barrier spam in early game. Either off a Dragonian Monk or off a hero doing it on Brown. You do so later in the game too, but particularly earlier in the game, you need a lot more. Because a lot more stuff can one-shot you. You just passed Pure Faction 500 in Labyrinth? Nice! Yeah, I was glad to get it done yesterday. Luckily, we didn't need to spend all night to getting it done. Imagine if we didn't get it done last night and we were just spending this entire stream trying to do it for like 3 hours straight. That would have been annoying. I could have gotten it first try if I would have done the right strategy, though. We could have saved like 2 hours last night. As far as Pure Faction time. I also would have saved 400 gems. You got it on tier 10, nice. Yeah, I wonder what the lowest tier anyone has done it on so far. I almost got it done on tier 5. But due to wrong strategy, we had to do it up to tier 7. Well, theoretically, we would have gotten away with tier 6. I just didn't have today's battles. We wanted to get it done yesterday. I am pretty sure it's possible with no tiers at all, though. I'm pretty sure you can do it potionless. It just would be really annoying. Because you'd have to keep re-rolling until you get Death Mark. And then get really absurdly lucky with Death Mark. And silences simultaneously. Sky Skull, please. That is not a Sky Skull. Alright, and there's the win. You're about to start trying Pure Faction again? Good luck. You will need it. Let's see what's added down. Yeah, when I said good luck for the video on Friday, I didn't realize how true that was. I did not realize it was that luck-based. What it really comes down to is the silence procs. Determines a lot of the battles on how smoothly they go. If he wants to go in silence 0, 1, or 2, or 3, really just determines pretty much the whole battle as far as the momentum of it. Because if he gets like triple silence, you basically just disable the entire enemy team. But if he gets like 0 silences twice in a row, that's really annoying. He has 30% chances per cast. Yeah, I think I've gotten like 4 casts in a row where he did like total of 0 silences. And then there's other times where he does a triple twice in a row. And also silencing something that silence is still beneficial. It refreshes the silence timer. Theoretically, there are actually already levels that require 2,500 renown for kingdoms. These are things that require like 2 or 3 pets at a given instance, where there's not another alternative. There's already been multiple instances where you need 2 pets for a kingdom, and the only second pet that would be level 20, or 2 level 20 pets, I mean. And the only other alternative for a level 20 pet was specifically the faction pet. There have already been instances of that. Which is kind of funny that it's not required to like level 29 or whatever it was. Because most people would already have 2,500 renown way before that point. Like if you're getting a kingdom to 29 star, you probably already have like everything down to 2,500 by then. Because you have to keep in mind, that's like years from now. That's like 3 years into the future. And even then, like the amount of resources you need for it's really high. You'd have to have basically every single thing in the entire kingdom maxed and a bunch of other stuff. Up to that point. It would also require like 2 or 3 mythics. I know you need 2 mythics for level 22. I forget if you ever need a 3rd. I don't think you do. Also, I wonder if the Doom troops actually count as a mythic towards the kingdom. I think they theoretically count as a mythic. Even though they're a rarity above mythic, they count kind of like a mythic for a lot of things. It's probably the final chest we're going to be going for, so if anyone has any other questions, do let me know. Otherwise, I'm probably going to be heading out for tonight. And we'll have the video going over all the things for next week tomorrow. Of course, some of the stuff that we can't go over tonight as well, like Soulforge. And tomorrow night, we're going to be going over 2 things. Primarily the tasks, as we always do every Monday. But also, I'm going to be messing around with some new defend teams that we're probably going to be building up next stream. And messing around with and testing. Because I want to make a Kodak team for every, that like Tome Doom book thing. For every color. Regardless of how viable it is on that color day, I want to make one for every color just to see how they do. And completely overhaul my current defend teams for different ones. So I should probably save all of my defend teams in like a Word document or something. Just in case I ever need them again. But we're going to start experimenting around. I want to check the books though, because they have a lot of potential as far as how much they could do. Isabel. What did I do different after the first run? You have to kill the tank first, and then worry about the rest later. Whereas before, I killed everything else first and worried about the tank last. That's generally how you do it for a faction. However, for this faction, you have to do it the exact other way around, where you kill the tank first and deal with everything else. You do still hit the Mekatar a little bit, but your main focus should be on the tank. You do still want to reduce the Mekatar to almost 0 armor, though, while you're trying to hit the tank. But your focus should be more on the tank than on anything else on the team. Whereas the first time I did it, I did the exact inverse, where I focused on everything but the tank, and then killed the tank last. Which didn't work, because the tank couldn't die at that point. But the strategy is definitely kill the tank first, 100%. You do want to poke the Mekatar some, though, because he'll hit you for too much damage if you don't take away some of his armor. But the main focus should be on the tank. Yeah, I'm curious to see how Guild Wars goes next week. We're going to have a lot of fun teams to mess around with for defense. Of course, we won't specifically be using most of those teams. But we'll get to see how they do, if nothing else. As well as testing them ourselves with our own teams that we use for PvP. Gosh, we got 3 Anus tonight. Maybe I should have named this the Anu farming stream. 0 Nysha, but 3 Anu. That's some really solid amount of Anu. Not as good as Nisha's, but that's still progress. Anyways, guys. Gosh. Anyways, guys. I'm going to be calling it a wrap for tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 hour prior to now tomorrow, we will be messing with the Chapter 4 tasks, as well as Guild Wars. Setting up for Guild Wars, that is. Obviously no Guild Wars on that specific day. But we'll be messing with 6 new defend teams that we'll be setting up. Most of which we'll probably be doing on the stream itself. Aside from that, of course, on Monday, tomorrow, we'll have a video going up, going over the Soul Forge, going over teams for the various week and all that good stuff. And from there, yeah, we'll go from there. And all the normal 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time streams as we do every single day. And we'll have more redeem codes. Also, I did ask for more redeem codes. It's been 2 days now, and I've still gotten no reply. Hopefully soon we'll get more. I have enough to go for about a week and a half more. However, yeah, hopefully they reply soon. Because we will eventually run out by, like, midway through this month. But anyways, guys, we'll catch you